Hey, friends. Well, I had a very cool morning. I discovered some, this is kind of off topic for what I usually talk about on this post, but discovered a video about hip flexibility. 2 thumbs up. I was amazed. I feel like I've been born again this morning. so, and that was kind of, it was a we have a potentially not feeling so hot 4-year-old in the house, and so we were up early. But I just ended up getting up and doing my thing, starting early. So, um, had a fair amount of time to settle into meditation, and what came up in my meditation this morning was something that was really kind of incredible, because I did the performing beyond fear exercise that Madeline taught me over a year ago now. And it's, if I've talked about it before, but if you don't remember, it's basically a short little 2 minutes, 6-minute total meditation, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. First 2 minutes, we're reflecting on our musical lineage. The second 2 minutes, we're reflecting on our own basic goodness, the inherent kind of goodness of human consciousness that's underneath everything. It's underneath all our programming. It's underneath all of the imprinting and psychological complexes that we develop. But beneath that is just a simple kind of upsurge of energy, and it's evident in ourselves. We can witness it. And then the last minute is we reflect on the basic goodness of our audience. So anybody who we might be playing for, performing for, or have performed for in the past. And this is what showed up really kind of powerfully today. I was reminded, I sort of did a little experiment. I was like, well, so there's a concert that I did years and years ago when I was in college, and I had a freeze moment in the middle of a Bach partita. It was a tricky piece. I'd practiced the hell out of it, and it was the slow movement, which was not technically that difficult, and I had a total memory gap, space out, music gone, no idea how to go on, and it froze me. It was like ice in my body. I remember feeling the audience as this force of being witnessed in this state of total fear, total like paralysis. And I just remember looking out at the audience and feeling not so much that something negative was coming from them, but their presence was creating this pressure of that I fell victim to. I totally. As I started the piece over, got up to the same exact moment in the piece, gone. It was like I just completely melted down psychologically. And so I very, very like rudimentarily improvised my way to a final chord for that movement, and then it went on to the next movement. And I got through that concert. I don't know how I got through that concert, because that was a really destabilizing experience. And from that point forward, I was in terror for most of the concert. But I did get through it. It was a concert of myself, and I was also accompanying a fantastic singer. But anyway, I share that experience because this morning, as I was sitting in meditation doing part 3, reflecting on the basic goodness of our audience, one of the reasons Madeline has explained why we do that is because we change the nature of what it feels like to be in relationship to an audience. So it's common to have, I think, the experience that I had in that terrifying moment of feeling like the audience is out there judging me or waiting for the performer to fail. I mean, this is generally not what's going through the audience's mind. It's just what we project if we're coming from a place of fear or lack or trying to prove ourselves somehow in the performance process. So feeling the audience. So in my mind, then I started to, I went back to that memory, and I just imagined that audience. I just reflected on the basic goodness of that audience. And the funny thing was, I couldn't even remember what it felt like in the actual event. I couldn't remember what the energy coming off the audience felt like in the experience that I had back then. All I could feel was that audience's basic goodness and their genuine humanity, their, why do people go to concerts? Why do people go watch musicians play? There's something in the kind of connection to something higher, something greater, something that's abstractly expressed through music, that touches our humanity. It touches our basic goodness. It nourishes, it invites our basic goodness to the forefront of our awareness, because a lot of times that basic goodness can get pretty buried underneath emotional stuff, psychological stuff, whatever, all the stuff that we work with when we're doing inner work. But it was like, it was just so cool to, and it's like I didn't even do this on purpose. This just kind of happened in part 3 of the exercise. It wasn't like I consciously set out to do this experiment. It was like I was just in that portion reflecting on the basic goodness of my audience, whatever that means. And this thing came up, and it was, and as it emerged, it was like remembered. I sort of was right back on stage. I had the experience of being kind of back on that stage, Gans Hall, at the piano, and feeling from the audience just their humanity, their joy, their support, their understanding and empathy for my experience on stage. All of a sudden, it's like I converted this terrifying experience into a memory of a really beautiful experience of a supportive and nurturing and completely nourishing experience. And so that's pretty remarkable. And it makes me wonder. I mean, not even really wonder. I kind of already know. But I was going to say, it makes me wonder, where else could I do that in my life? What other imprinting experiences have I had with people may not even, be musical in nature, but where else could I reframe my own memory by going back and maybe revisiting a painful memory or an antagonistic memory, a moment of conflict, and recognizing, just witnessing the basic goodness of the people involved, people who might have actually, like now I'm going back to childhood memories of like kids that I got into little tussles with, or moments where I felt shamed or insulted or disrespected, these painful moments in our past where somebody does something to us and it imprints on us. And maybe there's a way, this experience with the concert just kind of showed me connecting to my own basic goodness, because that's the other thing that was evident to me in the memory of the concert, is my own kind of humanity in that moment was very vulnerable. I was out on a limb. I was extending myself. It was a concert that I probably had no business playing that much music in one night at that level of my development. But I did it. So appreciating our own basic goodness, and then seeing, because it's a memory now, it's not happening. If it was a fight or if it was an insult, it's over. Now we're here. Now. So we have the space to go back and witness the underlying basic goodness of our antagonist, or whoever, whatever the thing is, person is. Because it's like it cleans out my system. It's like it takes that energy of imprinted fear and lets me go. It's like I breathe it out of my system. And now it doesn't hook me anymore. I'm not hooked by it. I'm not held by it. That tension, whatever habits of behavior, thinking, reacting I might have under similar conditions, or in situations where I, for whatever reason, feel similarly observed, attacked, whatever, it lets me take that energy and breathe it out of my system. So now I can come to my experiences fresh. I can greet this day fresh. I can play my next concert fresh. Just make music, have a new experience, not be recycling old trauma constantly, which is so much of what we do when we don't have a strategy, when we don't have a practice or a craft of finding that material within our psyche and working with it and dealing with it. It's like brushing your teeth but for the psyche. Pretty important. Feels important. We brush our teeth every day and they're just little calcium deposits in our mouths. What about the entire psychic constitution of our being? Maybe we should brush it every once in a while. Groom it. So, anyway, that's what showed up for me today. Thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate you. Have a great day. I will see you soon.